When you think of the X-Men, what's the first thing you think about? Maybe it's a mutant metaphor, it's a long line of characters that Marvel loves just forgetting about the cool powers their abilities introduce. Well, for me, it's the melodrama that makes days in our lives look sane. That's right, it's the most romantic time of the year. November. Marvel Rivals actually added two of my favorite X-Men, Rogue and Gambit, in their upcoming season, celebrating them as a couple, and it actually pays a lot of respect to the characters. If my Gambit isn't a real yearner, I don't want him. Though, the way they talk about these characters make it seem like they were always destined to be lovers, but when you actually look into it, these two were toxic. But also, the fact they turned it all around and became one of Marvel's best couples is genuinely a testament to their development. Once two people driven by their temptation and weighed down by their checkered past were able to open up to one another and accept who they were, they would not be where they are now if it wasn't for the fact they helped each other out. So pick a card, any card, and join me today as I explain why I think, in my humble opinion, Rogue and Gambit is Marvel's best couple.
Don't flatter yourself, Swamp Boy.
Anna Marie, born in Mississippi, was left orphaned to her Aunt Carrie. The death of Priscilla laid heavy on her shoulders, Anna, acting as a reminder of her deceased sister, turned cold and bitter, causing her to run away, desperately trying to cling on to the warmth that was taken away from her. In turn, she would run into the mutant known as Mystique, and at a young age, Mystique understood that Rogue's mutant ability is both powerful and dangerous. While she absorbs the soul of a person with a single touch, she can't control it, and it drains both the power, memory, and life force, potentially leaving the person to die. She wanted her to join the Brotherhood, telling her that she has a gift and they know how to help her. But Rogue didn't want any part in that. She wanted to be a normal girl, but her gift made it nearly impossible to live such a life, living in constant fear of hurting the ones around her, and would only be amplified by a fateful encounter with her crush Cody Robbins, who teases her, saying that she takes risks everywhere else but draws the line at a kiss. And getting told that she'll never be a normal girl by her adopted mother, Rogue would push herself and kiss the boy. And the moment her lips lock, she's bombarded with a flurry of emotions and memories in an iconic scene. A kiss. A kiss is such a gentle thing. One can feel like one's falling, spinning, spiraling away. He would have told her these stories, slowly, naturally in time, the way that squirming bundle of puppy wriggled and licked. His first fireworks, his first cigarette, his first loss, his first terror. She would have unlocked his stories slowly like a delicious mystery to be savored and solved. A wonderfully funny, frightening, strange mystery that would have added up to all Freddy is and feels and hopes. And she would have revealed herself slowly to him. But Rogue will never know the pleasure of that journey. For her, a kiss is not a gentle thing. A kiss rips all memories from the lips it touches. In a split second, all Freddy's flaws, desires, all his hopes and lies are hers. She has her lifetime with Freddy crammed into one brutal moment, leaving her traumatized and seeing her once crush, now lifelong partner in a matter of seconds, abandons him out of fear. This here is probably one of my favorite Rogue moments because I think it is a perfect analog for the loss of innocence. Something that should be slowly built between two people or rushed through in a single action. Overwhelming her is an inconvenient truth that she isn't normal, and while it's in part to her powers, of course, it's also because nobody respects her agency. Cody, while still very much young, doesn't know what he's doing, but he still pushes her. Her mutation takes away her ability to hold and interact with the world, and the little control she does have is taken away by the ones around her. Mystique is also not doing her any favors by using this moment as a point of manipulation to push her further into joining the Brotherhood. It recontextualizes her entire arc as a villain. She isn't some mustache-twirling bastard who's evil for the sake of evil. She's hurting and decides to submit and join the Mutant Brotherhood to find a sense of community, because Mystique was all she had left, so what else was there to do? She would be a recurring villain in the Marvel Universe. The most iconic part of this era is definitely when she absorbs Carol Danvers' powers and put her out of commission for so long that people thought that Rogue's powers were of super strength and flight rather than absorption, especially in other media besides comics, kinda honed in on this, which is kinda sad to be entirely honest because I think Rogue's powers is a really unique one that lends itself to some interesting set pieces and ideas. I vastly prefer her switching between a rotating set of powers rather than strictly relying on the same bread and butter of, I don't know, punch hard? As well, Rogue would essentially be the nemesis of the mutant Dazzler. She despised Dazzler to her very core. She essentially had everything that Rogue envied: love, friends, and the ability to touch. She would go to so many means to try to knock her down, but again, it would never be enough, leading to her having a vendetta against the woman. In tandem with the persona of Carol Danvers taking over her consciousness, the constant loss that followed her in a rivalry with Dazzler led to her psyche nearly breaking and Mystique unable to help. Rogue, in a desperate attempt to get help, found her agency once more and went to the X-Men for help, believing that Xavier and his telepathy could help her process her mental instability. But instead of being welcomed with open arms, she's greeted with side eyes and leers. She built a name for herself with the Brotherhood. Most of the X-Men outright despise her for what she's done, but Charles, seeing a mutant in need, steps in and defends her, welcoming her into the X-Men, which nobody seems to be a fan of. Many outright questioning Charles' sanity for daring to think such an idea. But her spot in the X-Men would really cement itself when the X-Men visited Japan, as Wolverine is getting married to the love of his life, Mariko. But when the X-Men do visit him, all of them are treated like family, while Rogue, on the other hand, is forced to wait in the doorway, not trusted by Wolverine and even singled out by him, questioning why she's even here. Storm has to step in and defend her, not from the perspective of a friend, more so that Charles told them to at least tolerate her. Not to go on too much of a tangent, but the rest of the 2-issue arc revolves around an assassination plot against Mariko, headed by the Silver Samurai and Viper. In the end, Rogue steps in and pushes her and Logan out of the way of a would-be fatal energy blast, in an act of selflessness, proving herself that she does not have a heart of a villain, but a damaged one that needs to be guided. Logan tells her that the only way she's going to live through this is if she absorbs his healing factor. At first, Rogue is mortified of using her power. Her entire life, it's only brought her anguish. But Logan isn't going to take no for an answer. Even if he's hurt as well and may die from losing his healing factor, Logan reassures her that he's indebted to her, and if they're equals, he has to pay her back and give up his healing factor, solidifying her into the X-Men and finding once again a new group to call her family. I think why this issue works so well for me is that it shows Rogue at her lowest. She's scared and alone after losing the Brotherhood, all she had for a majority of her life, and now she has to restart with the X-Men, who only give her the cold shoulder until this very moment. She has to prove to them that she wants to be a hero, but she also has to prove to herself that she has to live. She has to be shown that her life is worth living, that the X-Men will put their life on the line for her if she puts in the effort. It takes Wolverine to show her this by also putting forward the idea that her power can be used for good, that it can be used to save people. The first person she saves with this is herself. Now Rogue's connection to the X-Men would grow and she would find new friends with the team. Something was still off. Despite making the promise to find a cure for her affliction, Xavier couldn't figure out how to fix her affliction. He has gone out of his way to rectify his mistake, but it's still one of his biggest shortcomings. Even after building a connection to the X-Men, genuinely considering them a family, it only went so far. Sure, she was the X-Men with sass everyone loved, just not fully comfortable with everyone. That, of course, would change with the introduction to everyone's favorite Cajun, Gambit. When you mention Gambit, most people think of this roguish thief who always carries a silver tongue and a deck of playing cards, always associated with the color purple, nearly inseparable from Rogue, but if you see him how he is in his first appearance, it's hard to see how he ended up where he is today. First appearing in Uncanny X-Men 266 in 1990, he didn't even have a connection to Rogue, he was acting more or less a foil to Storm, as his deceitful thief only really helping Storm out of circumstance. It was more of a morally ambiguous figure, compared to the noble Storm. Hell, he'd even have his iconic purple kinetic energy that's sometimes orange. It's either green or white. Oh, that's just unfortunate, man, I'm sorry. But soon after, he would join the X-Men and would finally meet, of course, Rogue in X-Men number 4, Volume 2, where he would literally sweep her off her feet and start a flirty on and off situationship. Which, you know, to be entirely fair, is a sort of badge of honor when you join the X-Men. While she played into it, she still kept her distance because she was still fearful of her absorption powers harming him. But this only drew him in. As for Remy LeBeau, getting into a woman's heart was seemingly easy, but the one woman he physically couldn't get with intrigued him. This shows the dichotomy of their desires. While Gambit wants to rush their relationship into being physical and jump into the deep end, it acts as a constant reminder that despite how much Rogue wants to, she isn't normal and can't love in the same way that Gambit wants to. But also, Gambit's aloof nature turns her away because, seemingly, he doesn't want to take anything seriously with her. It doesn't seem like he truly cares for her feelings because Gambit isn't willing to show his emotions. Before I get ahead of myself, I think it's important to get down what Gambit's character is because I think people get the wrong idea of him. When the trailer for Season 5 dropped, people were kind of confused with how Gambit was overly attached to Rogue, saying that he should be the suave womanizer that sleeps around with anything that moves, which, to be fair, is only half wrong. He is definitely the moment he learned his childhood friend was trans, he immediately kissed her, which is great to know he's at least inclusive with his whoring himself out, but you get the idea. But this here is merely a mask that he wears of being this uncaring thief because he cares too much. I think the perfect story that conveys this idea was during Fabian's run of the book, which I know a lot of people have a problem with him, and trust me, I'm not the biggest fan of him either, but I actually really like how he handles this specific issue, as it deals with Gambit's past as a for-hire thief running into the notorious mutant, Sabretooth. It starts in Paris with Remy looking into the night sky where he sees a poor girl cornered by Sabretooth, immediately leaping into action protecting the woman he just met from a bird's eye view, saying that he may not know this lady but he does have a problem with unsavory rogues attacking her. Catching Creed by surprise, he runs off but swears that this Cajun rut will regret this transgression. Later, we see Remy returning to the Thieves Guild, where we learn that the woman Gambit ran into was a thief that stole a necklace from a highly esteemed politician, and both Remy and Sabretooth were hired to retrieve the necklace. While Sabretooth just wants to kill her and get it over with, Gambit goes about it another way and uses his charm to make the girl fall in love with him, going on dates, spending time together, and building this false connection with her. It's almost tragic because you can tell that Remy LeBeau wants to love this woman, but he can't bring himself to. He wants to be this sly fox, but in reality, his heart aches. He wants this woman to be safe because he knows if he doesn't get the necklace before Sabretooth, it will only end in death. And he doesn't want this woman to be harmed, so he has to put up this mask. But for Remy, he can't be in love. He doesn't deserve that feeling. He can get close enough to touch physically, but never to the heart. As we see when he sleeps with her, he takes the necklace before she wakes up in the morning, running off into the night. Gambit trying to run off from responsibility. He led this woman on. He ended up breaking her heart. He made her think it was love at first sight, but in reality, it was all one big game to him. He doesn't want to confront the reality of the situation, what he's done, but it catches up with him as Sabretooth kidnaps both her and Remy's stepbrother, Creed giving him an ultimatum. Either he'll drop her or his stepbrother. With a heavy heart, he chooses his stepbrother Henry, but tries to save the French girl, but fails doing so. Her final moments are one of heartbreak as she tells him that she truly wanted to be with him and would have given him the necklace if only he asked. This issue shows us that if Rogue can't physically love, Gambit is a man who can emotionally love. Yet, it's something they desperately yearn for, and this is the root problem of their relationship. They remind one another of what they can't have. They close each other off from one another outside of minor flirting because they literally speak entirely different love languages. They want to love one another, but they have to teach each other how to love. Another early X-Men issue that showcases this perfectly is after Rogue is blinded temporarily, she sits on the rooftop, deep in contemplation of her place not only in the X-Men, but the people around her. That's until Remy shows up once again, as his usual flirty self, that tries to play around with her like he usually does. That's until Rogue utters the phrase, "If you have feelings for me, then go." But Gambit retorts that's exactly why he's there. He desperately wants to be there for Rogue in her time of need, but doesn't know how to convey that. Rogue vents about how she feels like she's living in a world specifically out to get her, that she can never be held, someone can't come and stroke her hair telling her it's going to be okay, that more than anything in this entire world, she wants Remy to be that man, but she breaks down after admitting her feelings to him, saying they both can't have that. That her entire mutation is about absorption and he can't control it. But also, she calls him out on his own faults, saying that he can't control himself around others, just like how she can't control her ability. That she wants to be treated like a woman and not like the objects he tosses away. After getting this reality check, Gambit sulks away. Not willing to accept Rogue's terms, he leaves her be, alone on Xavier's rooftop for the rest of the night. But that's until he comes back with a blanket. Even if he can't hold her, even if he doesn't know how to love yet, he still wants to try and keep her warm, and promises to her that everything's going to be okay. For the first time, they admit their love for one another, but also break down each other's masks, showing who they truly are. As well, Gambit respects Rogue's autonomy. Unlike before, even if intentions were innocent, it neglects the wants of Rogue. While Remy, who before nagged her for a kiss, respects her enough and shows that he does have the capacity to empathize with her, but also make sure she's warm by offering the blanket. It's a really nice compromise that shows the fledglings of a relationship that isn't rooted in flirtatious curiosity, but a genuine admiration for one another, to help show each other how to truly understand what love means. In comics, a lot of the time relationships are treated with a sense of finality where there's nothing to go from here, and characters tend to either stagnate or regress. That's a whole other conversation. What I'm trying to say is that what makes Rogue and Gambit so interesting, where other comic romances fail, is that they truly bring out the best of each other. There's a certain level of complexity to the relationship. They have to recognize and confront their desires and problematic past. While it may hurt along the way, they accept their checkered past, but embrace their vibrant future. They truly bring the best out of one another. But don't take it from me, I don't know, I'm a guy on YouTube. Take it from an actual comic writer, Kelly Thompson, who talks about what she likes about the relationship. I do think sometimes her sassiness and her brash aspects get fouled off sometimes, and I love those things about her, and I think Gambit brings out those things in her. He makes her playful, if only so she can try to keep up with him. Some might want to write her as the nag to his devil-may-care, but I think it's the opposite. I think hanging out with Remy gives her a chance to cut loose and push on her boundaries. For Remy, I think Rogue anchors him really well. Sometimes without that anchor, he can seem too flighty, too irresponsible, too emotionally detached, but I don't think he's any of those things. I think he's an extremely deep character who has developed some tics that help protect him in any situation. But Rogue cuts right through all of that for him. He can't even pretend not to care, he cares so much. This single quote kind of encapsulates what I've been saying. They already love so much, it just takes both of them to show each other that. Honestly, Kelly Thompson's Rogue and Gambit book is probably one of my favorite pieces for the couple as it goes over their extensive history and relationship in a fun yet reflective manner. It's kind of funny because they work so well together, you might think it's almost fate that brought them together, but in reality, it's more so the opposite. They were cursed to never be able to touch. Constantly their relationship would teeter on the edge of collapse, and for a time, they were separated until rediscovering their love. It seems like the universe is dead set on breaking them up. I mean, look at the constant other Earths. AOA, we get Rogue and Magneto. In the new Ultimate Universe, Remy is with Kitty Pryde. I have to say that must be the most nothing burger relationship of all time. I mean, at least it's better than the original Ultimate Universe. That was a felony. Hell, even outside of the books, Chris Claremont would go on to say that he was surprised that Gambit and Rogue lasted so long, because in his original plans, he wanted Remy to betray the X-Men, and I shit you not. As a reveal, he was a secret clone of both Mr. Sinister and Scott Summers. That might be the worst idea ever. Because I think Remy and Rogue defy literal fate is a testament to their devotion to each other. When the whole world is against them, they have each other's back. In power scaling terms, Remy might literally be out-reversal if you think about it. When originally writing this video, I planned to go over the ups and downs of the relationship, talk about what they did during their time away, how Rogue got her powers under control, Gambit's time taking care of Laura, all really great moments in their own right, but I think for today, I wanted to focus on the relationship, and I think I got the general core message of the relationship down. That seemingly fate itself is working against them at every turn, and yet, they made it work. If you want to read more, because I really think this video should not replace going now you're ready to read the books, I highly recommend checking out the description for a reading order if you want more Rogue and Gambit. With that, I think it's time to wrap up this video. So as always, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and if you want more, comment what I should cover next, and subscribe.